It's alive. It's moving. It's alive. Oh, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
Hey everyone, this is a video about my attempt of a repair SyncMaster 213T, which is not working anymore, doesn't power on, doesn't have any signals, so I thought maybe it would be interesting to open it up and see what's going on and what we can do, if I can repair or anything, so let's do it. So after a lot of effort, I finally managed to remove the plastic shell around the screen, so now I will have to remove all the shielding and access to the mainboard to see what's going on. Let's do a jump cut. So now we have access to all the board behind the screen, so let's check all the caps. No, those one seems to be okay. No leak. Those one too. So I suppose that the main board is okay. There's no bulge, no leak. They still seem flat. Yeah, they're all flat. So no, not those one. But those one, I'll try to show you, but look at those one. Look at the top. They start to bulge. So yeah, I suppose I will replace them. All the 6. And but the most important is on the inverter board. So this one, autofocus is not working, but this one, come on. This one is definitely bulgy, and well, if you look at the one behind it, you will see that it starts to explode, but under the capacitor. So I think that's all the capacitor. Yep. So what I'm gonna do is replace the 6 on the power board, and I won't replace the big one because it doesn't leak, and we'll replace the small one, and of course the 4 from the inverter board. So we'll order everything on DigiKey, and I will continue when we receive all the new capacitors. So I already received everything from DigiKey. It didn't take long, 48 hours as usual. So let's try to remove all the old capacitor and plug the new one. While I'm on it, I will also show you my desoldering station. This is what I'm using for all my soldering job. This is my desoldering gun, and this is my hot air station. So whoops. So let's remove all the capacitor and see what's going on. Oh, of course, I didn't mention it because it's kind of obvious, but for capacitor, it's Nichicon, Rubicon, Panasonic. End of story. So I am in the middle of removing the caps, and look at this one. Come on, focus. As you can see, it popped up, but on the bottom of the cap. So this is certainly the one which making the screen not working. Alright, so the 4 capacitor have been changed. Those are 220 microfarad for 25 volt. So now the inverter board is done. Let's do the power board. Alright, so everything was replaced here. I replaced this one too. Didn't change the biggest one. Doesn't seem to have any bulge or any leak. So let's replace everything and check if we still have some life in this thing. Alright, so I just put back the shielding on the back. I didn't put the plastic just to be sure that everything is working. This is a quick setup with a Raspberry Pi and HDMI plus a DVI adapter to see if I got something, a signal, or at least a power on. Wrong side. it seems to do something. Okay, so it seems I have a resolution problem, but it's probably because the Raspberry Pi is outputting a full 1080p resolution, and the screen is not ready for this resolution. So let's put back everything together and get on my computer to see if it's sending a correct signal. Okay, so I've just replugged everything on my setup, and I don't know if you can see clearly, but I will try to show you. I hope this is visible on the video, but half of the screen is really dark, like there's some kind of gradient from the top of the screen to the middle. Something is definitely wrong here. So maybe I forgot to replug something, or maybe the board is more damaged than I thought, so yeah, kind of bummer. Alright, back on the bench. So the first test was to unplug all the connection to the upper neon, and it does the same thing. So I suppose that the upper board is not working. So after checking the board, I may have a dead fuse here, or I may have one or multiple MOSFET here dead. So I will check first the fuse, see if it's dead or not. I have a crappy multimeter, so it doesn't beep when I have connectivity. Yeah, nothing. Let's check again. Plus here. Yeah, nothing. I have connectivity here. I suppose. Yeah, I've got one. So yeah, my multimeter doesn't beep for connectivity. I'm just checking on home if I have something close to 0 to check the connectivity, and it doesn't display anything here. So the fuse may be here. Maybe it's a kind of rearming fuse, but I have no idea. I didn't find any service manual for the inverter board, only for the power board. So those fuse, I have no idea what kind of value or anything on it. So I have no idea what kind of fuse I can use as a replacement. For the MOSFET, it's easier. Those are AO 4600, and it's kind of old, but I found some equivalents and even replacements on eBay. So, but first I will test them to see if I have any short. But definitely half of the top board is not feeding the neon. So after a quick test on the MOSFETs, it turned out that I got 2 of them dead. This one and this one completely dead. I've got a short between pin 3 and pin 5, 6, 7 and 8 on both of them. Those are okay. I already ordered some replacement on Chinese seller on eBay. Unfortunately, I still have no idea for the fuse. It's on the 14 volt rail, but I have no idea of the milliamps I need, so I have no idea how I will handle it. Okay, so the MOSFET we have already replacement en route, but I have no idea for the fuse. So what I'm gonna do is buy the complete board on AliExpress. I found some sellers for 40 Canadian dollars. It's a bit expensive, but at least I know that the board is working, and eventually I will put the new board in the screen after replace the capacitor as a preemptive maintenance, and repair the old one later. What I'm gonna do is I will replace the 2 MOSFETs. I will swap the fuses because the bottom one is working. Swap them and check if the new MOSFET are working properly. The problem lies after that, because What I could do is testing different value of the fuses, or I could just put a wire in place of it. But of course, I really don't want to do that, because if for whatever reason the MOSFET are dying again, it will damage the main board, and I will have the same issue if I don't put the right value on the fuses, because it won't blow up and do its job. So, to be continued.